Hey folks, uh, for a while now I've been talking to you about prepping for an economic crisis, prepping for layoffs, an economic crash, financial collapse, a variety of terms for essentially the same thing. Um, and the whole point was there are some difficult times coming. People are going to get laid off. Costs of goods are going up. The availability of certain goods is going down. And overall, the economic outlook for this country is just not that great. So this week I released a video called Prepping for an Economic Crisis. And I went over all the companies that were going over layoffs and looking to cut back. Well, today I had a bit of a wake-up call myself. It hit a little bit closer to home than I expected. Now, I haven't really gone into depth about what kind of work I do, what I do for a living, but I work for a local manufacturer that builds components for appliances. And that's all I'm going to say about that, because if I go into any more detail, it's going to be blatantly obvious what company I work for anybody in the industry anyway. Let's see. So, at my job, I run one of the production lines that feeds subcomponents to the main production floor. So there are two subcomponent lines, each producing parts, and then these two parts go out to the main floor where they are assembled and other components are added in. So I run one of the lines that feeds the main production floor of my plant. This morning I went to work, and the minute I walked in the door, I was told they had, on my particular line, they had laid off all but one person on third shift. So that is 5 people right there. Now, within just a few minutes, my team on first shift had been called into the office. And essentially what we were told is the company is shutting down the teams on my line as of January 15th. There will be no more production of the subcomponent that I make. But instead, they will start getting those subcomponents from our home office in Germany, or from our home plant in Germany. Because I work for a large German company, has plants all over the world, but the home office is in Germany. So rather than produce the part that my line produces here in the United States, as of January 15th, that's going to stop. We're going to start importing those from Germany directly. As a result, the 2 teams that we have running, we've been running 2 10-hour shifts, are not going to be needed on that line. So again, for third shift, all but one person was told that as of January 15th, they're not going to have a job. On my shift, they let one person go. They basically told her after January 15th, you're not going to have a job. The rest of us, they've told they're going to keep, but they're going to move to other processes in the plant. Myself, I kind of figured something was up because I had already been moved off of my line into a different part of the plant to start training on a new process. Or not necessarily a new process for the plant. It's an existing process they didn't have somebody to fill, but it's a new process for me. I'm having to train for a process that I've never done before. So, Out of 10 people, they're letting 6 people go. Later this afternoon, we were pulled into another meeting so that the president of the company himself could go into a little bit more detail about what was going on and why. And to put it simply, the subcomponent that we make here in my plant, that I would have been making on my line, costs the exact same amount for us to make it as it does for our home plant in Germany to produce it and then ship it overseas here to the U.S. Now, it's a little confusing. I know, with exchange rates and all that, I'm not going to go into all of that, but essentially the home plant is a much bigger facility. Their production lines are newer because they build them there themselves. They're all proprietary equipment and manufacturing processes. So they build the machines there themselves, so their lines are newer. They're far more automated than what we have here. And because of that, they can produce the parts faster in larger quantities and for the same price that we would even after they're shipped here. Even if you include shipping. Alright, so the president went on to explain that due to the economy and the costs being even, us making them versus Germany making them and importing them or shipping them to us, the costs were even. Therefore, in an attempt for this company to save money, they were eliminating those positions for now. He was asked during the meeting if this is a temporary thing, if it's permanent, and his response was, due to customer forecasts, and our customers are here in the United States, major companies that if I mentioned the names of them, everybody would know them, because everybody would be familiar with them. Due to our customer forecasts for the remainder of this year and the next year going forward is looking very bad. It's not looking good at all. So due to that, this change is going to be the normal for at least the next year. So for at least 1 year, they're not going to run this line. The line itself is not being broken down and shipped off to Europe, like a lot of people originally speculated this morning. The line will be staying here in the plant that I work in. But because the forecasts, the sales for my company are going down so low for the next year, the outlook is so bad, they're having to already start streamlining. And they're just going to shut the line down and just let it sit there for a year. It'll be there in the event that something happens and they need to start it back up in an emergency. And they'll have a skeleton crew with the people that they've kept on to operate it if necessary. Or if something changes. But for the time being, the job that I've been doing for the past 10 years is not going to be done at all next year, because we're going to be getting those parts in from Germany. Now, I was fortunate. I was pulled into the office and my boss basically, my supervisor, HR, and another manager, they basically told me that I've had such a good impact on the department that I was working in, and that I've done such a good job, and with my expertise and my experience, they were moving me to this other part of the plant permanently to learn this process that I'm training on right now. Because they're 2 people short in that area, and they need somebody that can get up to speed fast, and I was their first pick apparently. So I've been fortunate in that regard, in that I had the place that they could move me. So I didn't get my notice today. 6 people got their notice. Now they'll continue to work, or be allowed to continue to work up until middle of January, which is when the line is scheduled to be shut down. Until then, the line is going to keep running. We're going to continue to manufacture these parts, but here's the thing. These people know their job is coming to an end. And I don't want to speak bad about people, but some of these individuals were the lowest quality workers in that department. They were doing the bare minimum to get by. Even then. So now that they've gotten that notice that their job is coming to an end, I would expect them to do even less, if not just walk out completely and just quit outright. Some people have already said they're going to start looking for a job, and they'll probably leave before the line ever gets shut down. So I'm not sure how that's going to work for us. But anyway, my point is that I've been talking about layoffs are coming. Companies are streamlining, cutting costs, and laying people off. That hit home today with this. Now, the fact of the matter is, if one subcomponent in this plant, if manufacturing it here is at parity with manufacturing it in Germany and then shipping it over here, it's not going to be, I have to look at it at two possibilities. One, this could be a temporary thing, or two, it's only a matter of time before the other subcomponents that we make here to put together to make the completed product is at cost parity with being manufactured in Germany as well. So you have to ask yourself, is this the writing on the wall that are the rest of the processes in the plant in jeopardy as well? And we've been through layoffs at my plant before. In fact, Home Office had decided at one time a few years ago they wanted to shut this plant down. But not one word was said by management to any of the employees. Just that we needed to streamline, we needed to become more efficient, we needed to become more profitable. It wasn't until about a year after the proposed shutdown date, when we barely scraped by the skin of our teeth to avoid being shut down. It was about a year after that point that we were told, yeah, they almost shut us down and we almost lost our jobs. So my company has a history of lying to us about the security of our jobs, because they don't want employees panicking. They don't want employees just walking out and quitting en masse. So I have to wonder, is that same thing going on now? Because I know it's happened in the past for a fact. I've seen it firsthand. Is that happening now? Or is this legitimately just a temporary thing? Another concern of mine is that these products are made in Germany that we're supposed to be getting in. Germany right now is in the middle of an energy crisis due to the war in Ukraine and tensions with Russia, where they don't think they'll have enough oil and natural gas for their people to heat their homes all winter. Because the majority of Germany's energy is produced through oil and natural gas. There's even been articles written speculating that manufacturing in Germany might have to be shut down at some point if the energy crisis gets too severe. So I also have to ask myself this: what happens if things escalate, the energy crisis in Germany gets worse, and then Germany is no longer able to manufacture the parts that are supposed to be shipped here to my plant? So, to put it simply, my job is not safe. My job is not secure. I've known that for a long time. I've been prepping accordingly. I've been trying to save up money. I've been building up food supplies. I've been trying to build up side hustles. And I've just been trying to prepare myself financially, physically, mentally, that my job is not secure, and I could at any moment be called into an office and told, we have to let you go. Here's my point. Up until this morning, this is stuff that I was reading about in news articles, and I was sharing with you online in these videos, and I've seen other creators share the same information. And people are always saying, oh, it's not that bad, you're fear-mongering. There's no shortages, there's no economic crisis, the economy's doing good. That's Biden's favorite thing to say. The economy is doing good. Well, obviously it's not. Because of inflation, because employee costs are so high, and because material costs are so high, we can no longer produce the same parts we were competitively with Germany. It's cheaper for Germany to make them and ship them here than it is for us to make them here. All because of inflation and rising wages. And I'm not going to get into why we have inflation. I think everybody already knows that. I've covered it at length already. So, this hit home for me today. And I've been prepping accordingly, so I was kind of prepared for it. My point is that I'm expecting more layoffs at my company sometime next year. Possibly towards the middle or end of next year. I expect there to be more layoffs. But more than that, this is going to be a trend that we see more and more frequently in the coming months. More and more companies are going to be laying off. The Fed has made it clear that they want to put so much pressure on our economy that employers have no choice but to lay people off or cut wages or streamline their business in some way in order to bring inflation down. Now, the Fed could bring inflation down simply by halting a lot of the unnecessary printing of money. Biden could help bring inflation down by cutting government spending. That's not going to happen. They're not doing that. In fact, they're continuing at breakneck speed with these things. They would rather force people to cut jobs. They would rather cause people to lose their jobs through layoffs, wages being cut. They would prefer that over running a more balanced budget, reducing spending, reduce money printing. So, I'm telling you people, please, prepare accordingly. This could very well happen to you. I've known it could happen to me for a long time. And again, like I said, I've been prepping accordingly. It was still a little bit of a shock to me this morning, but not as much as it was to some of my coworkers. Some of my coworkers are freaking out right now. They're in panic mode because they think they're going to be next. Me, I'm concerned, but not overly concerned because I've been aware this could happen, and I've been making steps towards what I should do, what I can do in the eventuality that it does. Because I believe at some point I will lose my job. So, please prepare. Please prep accordingly. Put money back. Stock food, stock water. Build some side hustles. It doesn't have to be much money. Every little bit will help. If it only brings in $20, $30 a month, that's fine. But if you get laid off and you draw unemployment, that extra $20 or $30 could mean the difference between 1 or 2 meals. It could mean the difference between a tank of gas and getting to a new job or a temporary job or a part-time job or whatever. Prepare accordingly. It's the wrong time of the year to be trying to grow food, but you can start with livestock right now. If you have property and you're willing to, get some chickens, get some quail, get some rabbits. If you have the room, get some goats or some sheep or something like that. Hunt, fish, forage. There's lots of things that can be done, but prep accordingly because this could happen to you. So, this was my wake-up call this morning. Even though I expected it, it was still, at some point, it was still a bit of a wake-up call for me. Let this be a wake-up call to you as well. Get ready. It's going to continue to happen, and it's going to become more frequent. Anyway, that's all I've got right now. I'm going to get out here and I'm going to burn some more brush and try to clean up some more and get my mind off of some of this stuff, de-stress, because it's been a stressful day. Anyway, that's all I've got. I appreciate you guys watching. Sorry folks, an owl just landed in the tree over here. That was a pretty cool sight. It's a pretty big one too. I'd say it has a wingspan of about 2.5, 3 feet. It may be more. Pretty good sucker. He's about this tall. I love the sound of owl calls at night, so maybe I'll get to hear some of those tonight. Anyway, I appreciate you guys watching. Like, share, subscribe if you haven't. I hope you found this useful. I hope you found it encouraging. Don't get overly stressed. Don't freak out. Don't panic. But prepare. With that, that's all I've got. I know I keep saying that. Until next time, folks, take care, and I'll catch you later.